So let's talk out personalities. I think it's really important in business, especially when you're working with a lot of different people with different personalities. It's important to know. So this video is going to focus on the Myers-Briggs assessment, and just stick around because it's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite topics. Hey, I'm Christy Henshaw. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm a realtor here. I also do renovations and commercial investments and, well, residential investments too. I just like talking about real estate. But one important aspect of business is working with people. And so learning about personalities is really important. If you will, take a moment to just subscribe. I would love it if you would like or share this video with others. I'm a new channel, and just getting the word out is really helpful. And I'm hoping that this stuff that I put here will help others. I know I'm learning a lot, so thank you for helping me in that. So the Myers-Briggs personality test, what is it? I think I'll just kind of start off giving you a little just a little synopsis of what each letter means. Now, let me back up a little bit. There are 16 combinations of these letters. And this research has been around, I want to say, since the 1950s. And so it's my favorite. You know, there are a lot of personality assessments out there, but this one's my favorite. It seems to be pretty accurate. So let's get to it. You've got, first off, there are 4 letters. So you've got I's or E's, the introvert, extrovert. Second set is sensing or intuition. That's the S or the N. They don't use an I because we've already used an I. Next comes thinking or feeling, the T or the F. And lastly, it's judging or perceiving, so the J or the P. So the first and the last have to do with just your interest in the world around you and just how you relate to it. And then the middle two letters have to do with more about how your brain works, just how your mind thinks, just what you're naturally inclined to think like. With introvert and extroverts, some of the clues to now there are lots of ways to take the test online. You can pay to have it done, or you can do free assessments, but just asking yourself these questions, it's not that hard to kind of figure out which ones you are. I mean, you've got 2 to choose from. So with introvert and extroverts, the questions that I would look into are, how do you feel energized? So when you're tired, when you're worn out, what gets you going again? Do you need to be alone? Do you need to think your thoughts yourself and just kind of be by yourself and be with your ideas or concepts for a little while? Or is it helpful for you to be around people? Like, you're pretty, well, how do I say this? A lot of introverted people can actually be very social. It does not have to do with being shy or social, but when you get around people, you have a tendency to be more extroverted if it really energizes you. And these are all like on a spectrum. It's on a scale. So you can be really introverted or really extroverted, or you can be somewhere in the middle. And there's a lot of people who are kind of right in here. But it's not about you being shy or how social you are. It's really about what energizes you, because there are shy people who get energized by people. They're just shy. So how do you approach meetings? That would be a good indicator. Or like, what are your interests and hobbies? And I'm going to share at the end kind of my stuff. Well, you know what? I'll just share it now. For me, my interests and hobbies have nothing to do with people at all. I love doing art, sitting around by myself. I love getting into a good book or a good novel. I love doing crossword puzzles, all these little nerdy things that I could do by myself. I am very introverted. I have learned to be extroverted when I need to be. So there you kind of have a quick snippet of what introverts and extroverts are like. So, you can kind of be thinking about which one you are. Next up comes sensing or the intuition, the S or the N. Sensing has more to do with facts, And N has more to do with like big picture thinking, or what are the possibilities? What are the dreaming? And I don't think I said this before, but it's really important to note that we all have, I think we have all of these within us. It's just one side, it happens to be stronger, or our natural inclination, just what we're more naturally comfortable with, kind of, it's innate in us to be either introverted or extroverted, or to be more sensing, or have more like to work with intuition. And so some of the questions that I would ask that would kind of give clues would be, how do you react to change? Do you need the facts? Or like, if you're going to make a purchase, do you sit there and mull over it? I'm meaning more, do you sit around and mull over it and think about everything, think about all the details, think about all the facts? Or a better way to say it is, or you can just quickly make your decision because you're thinking big picture. It's full of possibilities. And so what do you need really when you're going to be making a purchase, and how do you react to change? For me personally, I fall really close in the middle on this one. I am naturally more inclined to be an N, and I'm kind of a dreamer. I can dream out big things, but the reality is part of my personality is very, very detailed. And so I kind of personally am in the middle, but whenever I have taken these tests, I've actually taken a paid test, and every single time I do this, because I'll kind of periodically check myself over the years. I'm always an N, but I'm barely an N. Next up is thinking or feeling. So the T or the F. This has to do with making decisions. So when it's not how you necessarily just like, react when you're in an argument, nothing like that. It's more about, how do you make decisions? So do you look at things, do you tend to look at things objectively, or do you use empathy when you're making decisions? So thinkers, the T's, tend to be logical. They're going to focus on not symptoms. They're going to focus on systems. F's tend to focus on people, like themselves. How is it impacting them, and how is it impacting others? So clues, questions could be, do you look at things objectively? Do you use empathy when making decisions? And this one to me is important because it really impacts how we can deal with others who may have opposing views, or really strong personalities versus ours, or a personality that might be more difficult for our personality to get along with. It impacts how we help others, how we give feedback. Thinkers tend to be a little bit more critical and not care so much about feelings. Some people who tend to be more on the feeler side, and they're thinking about how it's going to impact this person, they might hold back on their criticism a little bit. So the thinking feeling aspect is really, really interesting to me. I'm a pretty high thinker. I have to dial it back a little bit when I'm giving feedback, especially like to my kids or to my husband, just in our home. I have a tendency to, this is how it's going to be, or you did it this way. And I have to, I've had to learn to think about how what I'm saying impacts people, and not only what, but how I say it. I have a tendency with my tone, like when I want to be heard, I get like this, and it doesn't sound very nice. and so I've had to learn to kind of dial it back a little bit. And then the last letter that you have to choose from is the J or the P, the judging or the perceiving. And this, it's not about people who are judgmental. It's not about that. It's more about, like, J's have a tendency to like structure, routine, organization, and P's tend to be more adaptable and flexible. So some clues to which you may be. So a question I would ask is like, how do you handle a deadline when a deadline's coming? For me, I am, I like to plan ahead. I like to have my ducks in a row and get everything done and done on time, and possibly get it even done early. How do you plan for events? Are you a list maker? You need to get everything ready, or are you pretty flexible? Are you pretty adaptable? Do you like to keep things open-ended, or do you like closure? That's a really good question to ask yourself. I am a pretty high J. I love having closure. Like, I'm gonna make a decision. The decision's gonna happen pretty quickly. I'm gonna get closure. I'm gonna move on. Someone who is a P, they can think about it a little while, then make their decision, and it may happen, may not, and then they're able to move on. Just different personalities. So it's really funny because my husband and I, we're the same all across the board except for this one. And I think it really makes our marriage work. I'm the one that's a little bit more, and he's totally relaxed. In fact, he's relaxed me over our decades of marriage. The main thing about these personality things is you're probably going to drift in and out, one side or the other all day long. Every day you can, just because you're, naturally a thinker doesn't mean you don't feel. You do. And feelers definitely can think. And so it's not just you're not boxed into just one way of doing this. We kind of have a tendency to ebb and flow, but you're just going to be naturally inclined to be one or the other most of the time. And this is knowing these things, and even, you can dig really deep and research a lot about how these different combinations of letters just intertwine, and you can go really, really deep in it. I haven't done all that, but it really helps. The deeper you can go, it helps you with getting to know others. So like I said, you're working with a lot of personalities, and so you can adjust how you would naturally come to them, or if you've got to bring criticism or feedback, or even just helping somebody out, just learning these things. And it's pretty simple. Just once you get each letter in your head, you can kind of look at somebody and just, you've got two choices. So you're just kind of figuring out who they may be naturally. And this is, again, it's not a learned thing. It's just kind of how you're naturally wired. And the great thing about it is you can strengthen, the areas where it's more challenging for you. So like I was saying I keep using the thinker feeler as an example, but for me, it's been a development to have to think about how people may feel with the way that I'm saying something. And so I just love it. It's very interesting to learn how you are and then how others are. So all of these types are valuable. Each one comes with its own set of strengths and its own set of challenges. And so it's something that's good to just to remember. Just because you think you're better than everybody because you're a big picture thinker, it's not true. People who are very detailed, that's needed. It's a really, really big deal to be able to be detailed. And like I told you that with the S and the N, I'm kind of in the middle. So one area that I'm really detailed in is just with decorating. When I'm working on a renovation, or I'm helping someone with decorating ideas for their home, or I'm working with their contractor, I catch the tiniest detail. It makes people crazy. I can even tell if a picture is just barely hung, not straight. I catch those details. But if I send a text, I just press send. I don't even think about the details, and half the time my texts aren't saying what I need them to say, and I have to go back and fix my text. I think that's kind of the bulk of it. The last part I would add is just that this personality assessment just kind of measures your preference. It's not really about your skill or your character or anything like that. It's just kind of what's your natural bent. This is kind of how you are. And one thing, as I dug deeper and I learned about myself, so I am an INTJ, and which is one of the rarer personality types. Like less than, I think different sites give different numbers, but less than 2 to 4% of the population is an INTJ. And of that, women, it's even less. It's like less than 1 to 2% are even women. So, growing up, I didn't have a lot of like friends, I don't know how to say it, just like I just felt like I didn't click with my friends that are girls. Um, you know, I joke around a lot that I'm perfectly fine being a hermit, but a lot of it growing up was just, I didn't know how to fit in. I didn't feel like I fit in. And gosh, learning so much about this personality test and then learning about others and how to relate better to others, it's helped so much with that. So there you have it. That is kind of my quick analysis, my quick synopsis of what the Myers-Briggs personality is about. And if you have questions, please, let's just keep it fun. Just ask me questions. I don't know that I'll know the answers because I'm not an expert in this, but it's just a fun topic. So again, like and share, and let's keep the conversation going. I hope you have a great week. I will talk to you next time.